will sweep away your societies, your freedoms, your ideas, the values that we cherish exactly
Prime
as you
Minister,
do.
it really isn't just extreme radicals. There are
I didn't say that,
huge
though.
numbers of people who are concerned about Israel's behavior, frankly, including people like me.
Well, you
Friends
know,
of Israel who
I
are
think that if
concerned.
Britain was invaded, forgive me, you know.
Watch the exact moment the public relations armor completely shatters. Look, we are all exhausted by the usual routine. A foreign leader overseeing a moral catastrophe goes on television, sits down across from the anchors, and expects them to just read off an approved list of questions. But when this leader sat down with journalists, expecting a soft landing, the lead interviewer completely flipped the script. She refused to play his vocabulary game. She looked him directly in the eye and laid out the undeniable reality of international law. Notice the immediate panic. The leader tries to pivot, tries to compare the devastation to past world wars, but the spin just does not work anymore. Working class people across this country are watching billions of our tax dollars fund this exact nightmare, and we are done accepting the excuses. You're out here working 40 hours a week just to keep the lights on, and the political establishment expects you to quietly finance a slaughter without asking a single question. If you are tired of watching our resources get drained while our own communities collapse, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This is our platform, and we do not let moments like this slide. Now, let us get into it.
That is one way of viewing the world, and I have some sympathy with some of what you've said. Let me give you another way, which is that many people around the world see the state of Israel as a country that is exclusively using military force, that has killed 70,000 people in Gaza, that is doing nothing to create a sustainable future for people there. That is a country, you've been accused of being a war criminal. That if you went to go to several countries in Europe, you're going to get arrested. This is not just mad campus radicalism. This is a feeling around the world. You said it yourself to us just now. In public opinion around the world, Israel is doing very poorly. And it's doing very poorly because people see a country that is behaving in a way that is not compatible with being a liberal democracy. And therefore, I think you have a problem. I think that loss of public opinion, what struck me from your autobiography was how subtly and for how long you have understood this. You know that political power comes from public opinion, and you know that you need to win the battle of public opinion, and you're losing it. You've absolutely lost it in Europe, but much more worryingly for you, you're losing it in America. And I think that what you've just told me about fanaticism is true in part, but it is not going to shape public opinion. People are going to roll their eyes and say, he's saying that anybody who says anything critical about Israel is anti-Semitic. He's giving this large, this story about fanaticism, and he's not accepting the fact that Israel is behaving in a way that we think is incompatible with the kind of liberal democracy that he claims.
To Afghanistan, to Iraq, and so on, the ratio of combatants to non-combatants killed was 6-1, 7-1. In Gaza, because Hamas was forcing people to stay in urban areas at gunpoint, the ratio is about 1.5-1. And we lost a lot of soldiers because we didn't carpet bomb.
That is disputed, Prime Minister.
We didn't do...
People have different ratios as well.
I'm telling you, you don't actually, but that's not the point. It certainly wasn't 6-1 or 7-1, and we certainly didn't carpet bomb, which we could have done right away. We've lost a lot of people by my refusal and the IDF's own mores in making sure that doesn't happen. Now, if you have the densest urban warfare theater in history, with 500 kilometers of terror tunnels underneath, 50 meters below, 50 meters above, everything booby-trapped, and you don't come in and just bomb the place to smithereens, which we didn't. I mean, we had everything booby-trapped. We moved the population out, and then you have to fight the Hamas in there. The ratios in Mosul, the ratios in Fallujah, the ratios elsewhere, there's nothing comparison, and that was nothing compared to what our brave soldiers had to face in Gaza. So I dispute the fact. The argument that you put forward is being put forward. It doesn't make it true. What is true is that Israel is fighting these worst killers, these people who took not only beheaded our men, raped our women, and then murdered them, burned our babies alive, and took 255 hostages, which we took out. Nobody believed that we got them out. These are barbarians, and they're given a free look. I have demonstrations on behalf of Hamas. Notice that they're burning the flag of Israel and the flag of the UK, the flag of Israel and the flag of America. When you have pro-Israel demonstrations, they wave Israeli flags, they wave American flags, they wave British flags. These people are against you, whether you recognize it or not. They will sweep away your societies, your freedoms, your ideas, the values that we cherish, exactly
Prime
as you
Minister,
do.
it really isn't just extreme radicals. There are
didn't say that,
huge
did I?
numbers of people who are concerned about Israel's behavior, frankly, including people like me.
Well, you
Friends
know,
of Israel who
I
are
think that if
concerned-
Britain was invaded, forgive me, you know, if Britain was invaded and you had the equivalent, in Britain, your population is what, 65 million, something like that, 60 million, right? So you're about 6 times our size. So if you had, on one day, about 8,000 Brits murdered, mutilated, raped, and kidnapped, and they came right next to London, what would you do? We know what you did. We know exactly what Britain did, and I don't hold Churchill or the British government or the British people who supported him responsible for saying you shouldn't have acted that way. You bombed the living daylights out of Britain.
The charade is over. When global legal bodies issue arrest warrants for war crimes, you are no longer dealing with a controversial ally, you are dealing with a fugitive from global justice. Yet, the political establishment demands you ignore a catastrophic death toll while they dismantle international law to protect a foreign government operating with absolute impunity. But behind closed doors, even our leadership knows the reality. Recent reports reveal the head of state called this foreign leader regarding a border escalation and told him directly that he is effing crazy. The head of state shut it down because a wider war would ruin a regional deal he was negotiating. He didn't appeal to human rights. He used raw political blackmail, telling the foreign leader that without his political backing, he would already be in a prison cell. He explicitly used the leader's ongoing domestic corruption trial and promises of protection as leverage. You are watching a political figure threaten a fugitive over regional control, and they expect you to finance it. Look at the math, while you check your bank account for groceries and face skyrocketing gas prices driven by this global chaos. The government has quietly transferred over $21 billion in military aid in just 2 years. That $21 billion could build affordable housing in every major city or erase medical debt for millions of struggling people. Instead, it balances the ledger for an unhinged foreign leader whose own backers have to threaten him with prison to stop the bombing. Why does the bipartisan consensus hold when the public opposes it? Follow the money. In the current election cycle, a prominent foreign policy lobby and its super PAC entered the year with a $100 million war chest. They recently dropped $21 million in primary elections to influence 4 legislative races, explicitly targeting candidates who questioned the unconditional flow of weapons. Nobody drops $21 million on local TV ads as a charitable donation. They do it too by unquestioning loyalty from lawmakers. Meanwhile, establishment centrists champion human rights for the cameras but go silent when the bombs drop. The bipartisan consensus becomes ironclad the second it is time to approve billions in emergency military spending for a campaign condemned by the planet. They accept the endorsements and the cash, making them entirely complicit. They expect you to work 40 hours a week, max out your credit cards for groceries, and look the other way. This cycle has to break. Domestic economic survival cannot remain secondary to endless foreign military funding. We need representatives who answer to their districts, not the lobbying firms bankrolling their re-election. If you are tired of a media apparatus that covers 4 politicians who sell you out, hit the like button and subscribe. If nobody in that room was doing oversight, who was? Figure that out.